First contact deception. The stars stretched into brilliant streaks before collapsing back into distant pinpoints as the EDS Harmony dropped out of FTL. Captain Maya Chen released a breath she hadn't realized she'd been holding. Humanity's first diplomatic vessel had completed its 3-month journey to the coordinates provided by the Galactic Assembly. Status report, Maya said, her voice steady despite the flutter of nerves in her stomach. Lieutenant Commander Jackson checked his console. All systems nominal, Captain. The ship weathered the jump perfectly. Scans show the assembly station exactly where they said it would be. The view screen filled with an enormous structure that resembled a massive starfish, each arm stretching miles into space. Light glittered along its surface, and smaller vessels moved around it like busy insects. "It's beautiful," whispered Dr. Sarah Okafor, Earth's leading xenolinguist and the mission's chief diplomat. "After all our years of wondering, we're finally here." Maya nodded but kept her expression neutral. "Beautiful, yes. But let's remember our briefing. We represent all of humanity now. First impressions matter." The diplomatic mission had been hastily assembled 6 months ago after Earth's deep space telescopes detected an artificial signal. First contact had been made, and the Galactic Assembly, a coalition of 17 spacefaring species, had invited humanity to join their ranks. The offer seemed generous. Technological exchange, cultural sharing, and protection within assembly space. Too generous, perhaps. Earth's Unified Defense Council had insisted on caution. While the public celebrated, the military prepared. Maya had been chosen not just for her diplomatic skills, but for her combat experience and strategic mind. If things went wrong, she would be humanity's first and possibly last line of defense. "We're receiving a transmission," Communications Officer Patel announced. "They're welcoming us and providing docking instructions." "Acknowledge and comply," Maya ordered. "Everyone to your stations. Dr. Okafor, prepare your team." As the Harmony approached the docking bay, Maya joined Dr. Okafor and her diplomatic team in the airlock. All wore the formal blue uniforms of the Earth Diplomatic Service, adorned with the simple emblem of Earth, a blue circle with white continents. "Nervous?" Maya asked as she straightened her collar. Sarah smiled. "Terrified, excited, honored. Take your pick." "All appropriate," Maya said with a small smile. "Just remember your training." The airlock cycled, and the door slid open to reveal a reception committee of aliens. At the forefront stood a tall, slender being with iridescent blue skin and 4 arms. Its head was elongated with no visible ears, and large, compound eyes caught the light in rainbow facets. "Welcome to Nexus Station," the alien's voice emerged from a small device at its throat, translated into perfect English. "I am High Chancellor Zyvex of the Galactic Assembly. We are honored by your presence, representatives of Earth." Maya stepped forward and bowed slightly. "High Chancellor, I am Captain Maya Chen of the Earth Diplomatic Service. On behalf of all humanity, we come in peace and friendship." Zivex's upper arms performed an elaborate gesture. "Please, follow me. The Council awaits." The Earth delegation was led through soaring corridors teeming with alien life. Some species walked on multiple legs, others floated in anti-gravity fields, and yet others seemed to phase in and out of visibility. Despite her military training, Maya found herself awestruck. "The Assembly has existed for 12,000 years, Zyvex explained as they walked. "We have brought peace, prosperity, and technological advancement to nearly 40% of our galaxy." "Impressive," Maya replied. "Earth looks forward to contributing to that legacy." Zivex's compound eyes studied her closely. "Yes, contributing. That is what new species do." Something in the Chancellor's tone made Maya's instincts prickle, but before she could analyze it further, they arrived at massive double doors that parted silently. The council chamber was a vast amphitheater. 17 elevated platforms held representatives of the Assembly's founding species. The Earth delegation was guided to the center of the floor, where they stood like specimens under examination. The representatives of Earth, Zyvex announced, taking a place on one of the platforms. Species 4873, newly spacefaring. A being that resembled a crystalline structure glowing with internal light spoke, its translation slightly delayed. We have reviewed your application for membership. Your rapid development of faster-than-light technology is unusual. Maya felt a chill. They hadn't applied for anything. The invitation had been presented as unconditional. Humans are adaptable, Dr. Okafor replied smoothly. We learn quickly. Indeed, said another council member, this one appearing as a shifting mass of tentacles. We have studied your transmissions. Your species has an interesting history of conflict. A holographic display activated, showing Earth's military installations, weapons testing facilities, and defense systems. Maya's blood ran cold. These were classified locations, never shared with the Assembly. For beings so new to space travel, continued the tentacled counselor, you maintain extensive armed forces. Maya stepped forward. For defense only. We come from a historically divided world. Old habits are hard to break. The crystalline being's light pulsed. Yes, we have studied your history. So much conflict. So much innovation in warfare. The meeting continued for hours. What had begun as a welcome increasingly felt like an interrogation. The Council questioned Earth's resources, population, genetic diversity, and technological growth rate. Few questions addressed cultural exchange or peaceful cooperation. Back in their assigned quarters, Maya gathered her senior staff. Thoughts? She asked bluntly. Sarah paced the room. They're not treating us as equals. Every question, every statement positions us as subjects, not partners. They know things they shouldn't, Lieutenant Commander Jackson added. Those military installations in the hologram include our blackout sites. No one outside Earth's highest clearance should know they exist. Maya nodded grimly. And they classified us. Species 4873. That suggests thousands of other contactees. What happened to them? Communications Officer Patel asked quietly. No one answered. Over the next week, the pattern continued. The Earth delegation was given tours of the station and meetings with lower-level officials, but substantial negotiations never materialized. Instead, Maya noticed teams of alien scientists observing them constantly. Blood samples were requested for medical compatibility. Technical specifications of the harmony were demanded for docking safety. After one particularly frustrating meeting, Maya returned to her quarters to find Dr. Okafor waiting. We need to talk, Sarah said, her voice low. I've been analyzing linguistic patterns in their translations. There are consistent discrepancies, phrases that sound natural in English, but don't match the symbols on their translation devices. Meaning, they've been studying us longer than they claim. Years, maybe decades before they made contact. Maya's jaw tightened. I need proof. I think I found it. Sarah activated her tablet, showing Maya a security feed. This is from their xenobiology lab. I accessed it through their educational database. Apparently, they forgot to restrict it. The feed showed alien scientists dissecting what appeared to be a human body. That's impossible, Maya whispered. No humans have been here before us. Look at the timestamp, Sarah pointed. This was recorded 3 Earth years ago. Ice formed in Maya's stomach. We need to get out of here. Now. There's more, Sarah continued. I've translated documents mentioning something called the integration protocol. From what I can gather, they identified promising species, study them covertly, then make contact. After assessment, the species is either fully integrated or resource optimized. Resource optimized, Maya repeated flatly. Captain. Sarah looked her directly in the eyes. I think they're farming intelligent species. The cooperative ones become client states. The others become raw materials. Maya activated her secure communicator. Attention all Earth personnel. Code Sundown. I repeat, Code Sundown. Within minutes, her senior staff had gathered in her quarters. "The mission is compromised," Maya announced without preamble. "We're implementing emergency protocols. Lieutenant Commander Jackson, prepare the Harmony for immediate departure. Dr. Okafor, gather all the intelligence you can. Officer Patel, prepare a quantum burst transmission to Earth. We need to warn them." "They won't let us leave," Jackson argued. "We've been watched since we arrived." "I know." Maya's expression hardened. "That's why I'm going to create a distraction. Dr. Okafor, your team discovered a pathogen, and I've been infected. Make it convincing." The plan moved swiftly. Dr. Okafor reported Maya's illness to Station Medical, creating confusion as alien doctors unfamiliar with human physiology scrambled to respond. Meanwhile, Jackson quietly prepared the Harmony for emergency departure. Maya knew they only had one chance. As she lay in the medical bay, apparently delirious with fever, she watched the alien doctors consult urgently. The moment they left to retrieve specialized equipment, she moved. 3 corridors and 2 security checkpoints later, Maya reached the Harmony's airlock. Jackson was waiting. "The ship's ready, but station security is on alert. We've got maybe 5 minutes before they lock us down completely." "Where's Sarah and the transmission?" "Already aboard. The quantum burst is ready to transmit the moment we clear the station's dampening field." Maya nodded. "Get everyone aboard." "I'll." A searing pain shot through her back. She stumbled forward, turning to see High Chancellor Zyvex standing behind her, a strange device in one of his 4 hands. "Captain Chen," Zyvex said coldly, "you disappoint me. We had such hopes for your species." Maya felt her consciousness fading as security forces surrounded them. Her last sight was Jackson being dragged away from the Harmony's airlock. Her last thought was of the quantum burst transmission, still waiting to be sent. Earth would remain ignorant of the threat. Or so the Assembly believed. What they didn't know, what Maya had kept even from most of her crew, was the real reason she had been selected for this mission. Before losing consciousness, she pressed her palm against a hidden panel on her uniform. A microscopic quantum entanglement device activated, instantly connecting to its twin on Earth. The message was brief but complete. Hostile. Deception. Farming species. Activate Protocol Vanguard. Thousands of light years away, in a secure facility beneath the Antarctic ice, alarms began to sound. Protocol Vanguard, Earth's ultimate contingency plan, was now in motion. As Maya slipped into darkness, she took comfort in one thought. The Assembly thought they were assessing humanity. They had no idea humanity had been assessing them. The Ghost Fleet rises. Maya Chen woke to the cold bite of restraints around her wrists and ankles. The room was clinically white, bare except for the examination table she was secured to and various unfamiliar instruments arranged nearby. A sharp ache pulsed behind her eyes, after effect of whatever they'd used to subdue her. "The subject is conscious," announced a voice. Maya turned her head to see 3 aliens observing her. 2 resembled High Chancellor Zyvex with their blue iridescent skin, while the third was a small gray being with overlarge black eyes, a species she hadn't encountered before. "Where is my crew?" Maya demanded, her voice hoarse. "Your subordinates are being processed separately," the gray alien replied through a translator device. "I am Chief Examiner Kelox. You have been designated for enhanced interrogation due to your leadership status and anomalous behavior." Maya tested her restraints. Unyielding metal, expertly placed. "Your resistance was anticipated," Kelox continued, approaching with a device that resembled a metallic spider. "This neural interface will facilitate our conversation. It bypasses intentional deception. Some subjects experience discomfort." Before Maya could respond, the device was placed against her temple. Pain shot through her skull like liquid fire. She clenched her jaw, refusing to scream. "Impressive pain threshold," noted one of the blue aliens. "Consistent with species profile." "Captain Maya Chen," Kelox began, You will provide complete information about Earth's defense systems, technological capabilities, and resource distributions. The device pulsed, and Maya felt an alien presence pushing against her mind. You are wasting valuable time, she managed through gritted teeth. My superiors already know of your betrayal. Kelox's large eyes blinked slowly. Impossible. No transmissions left your vessel. Maya smiled despite the pain. You don't know everything about us. The neural device pulsed again, harder. Maya's vision blurred, but she focused on a mental technique she'd been trained for. Compartmentalization. Let them see what she wanted them to see. Show me Earth's defense protocols, Kelox demanded. Images flashed through Maya's mind. Orbital defense platforms, missile installations, fleet deployments, all carefully crafted misinformation prepared for this exact scenario. Meanwhile, across the station, Dr. Sarah Okafor sat huddled in an intake cell with Communications Officer Patel and 3 junior diplomatic staff. Lieutenant Commander Jackson had been taken away hours ago. They're going to dissect us, whispered one of the junior officers, a young woman named Rodriguez. I saw their labs when they gave us the tour. Stay calm, Sarah ordered, though her own heart raced. Captain Chen activated Protocol Vanguard before they captured her. Help will come. Patel looked skeptical. From Earth, even at maximum FTL, a rescue mission would take months. Sarah was about to respond when the cell door slid open. A creature entered, one of the maintenance species they'd seen working the station's infrastructure. It resembled a large insect with multiple limbs and compound eyes. Its exoskeleton, a dull greenish-brown. Silence. It chittered, the translation coming from a device at what might be its throat. Monitors active. The creature busied itself checking the cell's water dispensers, but as it worked, a small object dropped from beneath its carapace near Sarah's foot. Without drawing attention, she covered it with her shoe. When the maintenance worker left, Sarah carefully retrieved the object, a small data crystal and what appeared to be an access key. What is it? Patil asked. Sarah examined the crystal. A message, but we need a reader. Rodriguez reached into her boot and pulled out a small device. Universal translator. They missed it during processing. Sarah inserted the crystal. A text message appeared. Not all assembly members support the integration protocol. Assistance prepared. Cell block power outage in 6 hours. Use key on maintenance shaft behind water dispenser. Follow lights to docking bay 42. It could be a trap, Patel warned. Sarah considered this. Maybe. But what choice do we have? Back in the interrogation room, Maya fought through waves of pain as Kelox and his team probed deeper into her mind. Your defense capabilities are primitive, Kelox observed. Yet you resist with unusual effectiveness. Maya's consciousness was slipping, but she maintained her focus. We're full of surprises. Indeed, Kelox moved away, consulting with his colleagues. The Integration Council has reached a decision. Earth will be classified as a Category 2 acquisition, limited technology harvesting, followed by population reduction and resource extraction. Maya's blood boiled with rage. You're making a serious mistake. Your species always says that, one of the blue aliens remarked. Yet here we are, 12,000 years of uncontested dominance. Your Earth will simply become another footnote in assembly archives. A new voice spoke from the doorway. Chief Examiner, Priority Communication from High Command. Kelox turned. Proceed. The invasion fleet has been dispatched to the human home system. ETA 72 standard hours. Your preliminary assessment is required for targeting priorities. Maya's heart sank. 3 days, barely enough time for Earth to begin preparations, even if her message had gotten through. Prepare the subject for deep scanning, Kelox ordered. We need everything before neural degradation becomes problematic. As the team prepared a larger, more ominous device, an alarm suddenly blared through the facility. Security breach in detention level 4, announced an automated voice. All personnel to emergency stations. Kelox hissed in frustration. Secure the subject. I will return. Left alone with a single guard, Maya renewed her struggle against the restraints. The neural device at her temple continued its painful intrusion, but the alarm had clearly disrupted its settings. Through the haze of pain, she noticed a small maintenance panel behind her table begin to move. Silently, it slid aside, and a greenish-brown insectoid form emerged. The guard, focused on the door, didn't notice until a dart struck its neck. It collapsed without a sound. Captain Chen, chittered the insectoid being, moving quickly to her restraints. I am Trixna of the Vesperi. We must hurry. My crew, Maya gasped as the neural device was carefully removed from her temple. Some are already secured, Trixna replied, helping Maya to sit up. Others we still seek. Can you move? Maya's head spun, but she forced herself to stand. Why are you helping us? Trixna's mandibles clicked. The integration protocol was never unanimous policy. Some of us remember when our own species faced resource optimization. Now, quickly. They moved through the maintenance shafts, bypassing main corridors where security forces rushed to respond to the strategically triggered alarms. Maya's professional assessment noted how the station's emergency protocols created predictable movement patterns, a weakness. The Assembly has sent an invasion fleet to Earth, Maya said as they crawled through a narrow passage. We know, Trixna replied. It is standard procedure. Assessment, followed by invasion, followed by restructuring. Very efficient. How many ships? A standard subjugation fleet. 27 capital vessels, approximately 200 support craft. Enough to overwhelm a pre-assembly civilization. They emerged into a small hangar bay where Maya was relieved to see Sarah Patel and several other crew members waiting beside an unfamiliar shuttle. Captain. Sarah rushed forward, supporting Maya as she stumbled. We thought you were. I'm fine. Maya interrupted. Status report. We've secured 18 of our people, Sarah explained. Lieutenant Commander Jackson and 5 others are still missing. Trixna approached. We cannot delay further. Station security is implementing Level 3 containment measures. This vessel is programmed for your home coordinates. We can't leave our people behind, Maya insisted. The alternative is all of you remain. Trixna's compound eyes reflected the hangar lights. Those still captive are likely already in deep processing, beyond retrieval. The grim reality settled on Maya's shoulders. A commander's worst nightmare, leaving people behind. Captain, Sarah said quietly, Protocol Vanguard, we need to get home. After a moment's hesitation, Maya nodded. Prepare for departure. As the small group boarded the shuttle, Trixna handed Maya a data crystal. Assembly fleet formations, weapons capabilities, shield frequencies. Use it well. Come with us, Maya offered. The insectoid being's antennae quivered. My place is here. There are others to help, and a system to change from within. Perhaps we will meet again, Captain Chen, if your species survives. The shuttle launched, slipping away from the station under cover of the continuing security alert. As they accelerated toward the nearest jump point, Maya studied the tactical data from Trixna. The invasion fleet left 2 days ago. She announced to her gathered crew, even at maximum speed, we can't beat them to Earth. Then Earth faces them alone, Paddle said grimly. Maya's lips curved into a slight smile. That's what the Assembly thinks. High Chancellor Zyvex stood on the command deck of the Assembly flagship Inevitable Dominance, watching as the massive vessel led the invasion fleet toward the human home system. Final approach, announced the navigator. Entering Sol system in 3 standard minutes. Zyvex's 4 hands performed a ritual gesture of satisfaction. Proceed with standard invasion protocol. Neutralize orbital defenses. Establish superiority. Then open communications to accept surrender. High Chancellor. The sensor officer interrupted. Scans show minimal defensive preparations. Several primitive weapons platforms in orbit. a small collection of military vessels near their fourth planet. As expected, Zyvex replied. Prepare targeting solutions. The assembly fleet entered the Sol system in perfect formation, 27 capital ships spreading out to surround Earth while support craft moved to neutralize the scattered human defenses. Sir, the communications officer called. We're receiving a transmission from the human government. Zyvex straightened. On screen, a human female appeared, wearing formal attire with Earth governmental insignia. This is President Elena Vasquez of the United Earth Government, she announced, her expression grave. Our sensors have detected your approach. We request clarification of your intentions. Zyvex stepped forward. I am High Chancellor Zyvex of the Galactic Assembly. Your species has been evaluated and found suitable for integration into our collective. Lower your defenses and prepare for peaceful transition to assembly management. The human president's expression didn't change. And if we decline, then we will proceed with forceful integration. Your limited technology cannot oppose us. Surrender will minimize casualties. President Vasquez nodded slowly. I understand. Please stand by for our response. The transmission ended. They consider resistance, Zyvex noted with amusement. Predictable. All species do before accepting reality. Minutes passed. The fleet maintained position, weapons charge, awaiting the order to begin the subjugation. High Chancellor. The sensor officer suddenly called, voice rising with alarm. I'm detecting energy fluctuations throughout the system. Source. Unknown, sir. The patterns are. Wait. New contacts appearing. Around the assembly fleet, space itself seemed to ripple. Where moments before had been empty void, ships now appeared, hundreds of them, surrounding the invasion force in a perfect three-dimensional encirclement. Impossible, Zyvex breathed. Where did they come from? The tactical display showed vessels of unfamiliar design, sleek and predatory, their hulls a deep matte black that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. Sir, the communications officer reported, incoming transmission from the new vessels. The view screen changed to show a human male in a military uniform adorned with rank insignia Zyvex didn't recognize. This is Admiral William Reyes of the Earth Defense Force Ghost Fleet, the human announced calmly. You have entered restricted space with hostile intent. In accordance with Protocol Vanguard, you are ordered to power down weapons and prepare to be boarded. Zyvex's compound eyes widened. What trickery is this? Our intelligence indicated no such fleet exists. Admiral Reyes smiled thinly. That was rather the point, Chancellor. Your final warning. Stand down or be engaged. Zyvex turned to his tactical officer. Launch all fighters. Target their command vessels. Assembly fighters streamed from launch bays, weapons hot as they raced toward the human ships. The first volley of assembly weapons fire crossed space and passed harmlessly through several human vessels as if they weren't there. Holograms? Zyvex demanded. No, sir, the tactical officer replied, confusion evident. They're solid on sensors, but our weapons are. They're phase-shifting somehow. Before Zyvex could respond, the Ghost Fleet opened fire. Advanced energy weapons sliced through assembly shields as if they were tissue paper. Precisely targeted shots disabled engines and weapons systems without destroying the vessels outright. On the inevitable dominance, alarms screamed as systems failed across the ship. Through the viewport, Zyvex watched in horror as the mighty assembly fleet, undefeated for millennia, was systematically dismantled by ships that shouldn't exist. How? He demanded of no one in particular. How did we not know? The answer came in the form of a final transmission from Admiral Reyes before the inevitable dominance's communication system failed completely. You thought you were studying us, Chancellor, but we've been watching you for much longer than you imagine. Protocol Vanguard was established 50 years ago when we detected your first probes in our system. Everything since, including Captain Chen's mission, has been part of our assessment of you. As the flagship's lights dimmed to emergency power, Zyvex realized the terrible truth. The Assembly hadn't been evaluating humanity for integration. Humanity had been evaluating the Assembly for defeat. Humanity Unleash. 3 days after the Assembly fleet's catastrophic defeat, Maya Chen stood in the observation lounge of the EDS Reckoning, one of Earth's Ghost Fleet command vessels. Around her, officers monitored the containment of 27 captured Assembly capital ships and their support craft, now floating powerless in high Earth orbit. The doors slid open, and Admiral William Rice entered. Maya snapped to attention. "At ease," Captain Rice said, moving to stand beside her at the viewport. "How are you feeling?" "Better, sir," Maya replied. The medical nanites had repaired most of the damage from the neural interface, though occasional headaches still plagued her. "I'm ready to return to duty." Rice nodded. "Good, because we're about to make history." Beyond the viewport, Earth gleamed blue and white against the blackness of space. The planet showed no signs of the momentous events unfolding around it. Civilization continued undisturbed, the general population still unaware of how close they had come to subjugation. "The Assembly Council has requested an emergency conference," Rice explained. "Your first-hand experience with them makes you our most valuable asset." "They'll try to negotiate, sir," Maya cautioned. "But we can't trust anything they offer." "Agreed. That's why we're negotiating from a position of absolute strength." Rice gestured to the tactical display showing Earth's defenses. What had appeared to be a minimal defensive presence when the Assembly arrived had transformed. Hundreds of Ghost Fleet vessels now patrolled the system. Orbital platforms that had seemed primitive had revealed advanced weapon systems. The entire Sol system had become a fortress. Protocol Vanguard exceeded all expectations, Rice continued. 50 years of preparation, hidden in plain sight. Every probe they sent, every transmission they intercepted. We fed them exactly what we wanted them to see. Maya studied the tactical display. "They still don't understand how we did it, do they?" "No," Rice smiled thinly. "The quantum displacement technology remains our ace. The ability to keep our advanced fleet out of phase with normal space until needed. It's a capability beyond even their understanding." A communications officer approached. "Admiral, Captain, the Assembly representatives have arrived at the meeting coordinates." Rice straightened his uniform. Time to rewrite the Galactic Order. The conference took place aboard the EDS Reckoning in a specially prepared chamber. Maya sat beside Admiral Rice and President Vasquez at one end of a long table. Across from them sat High Chancellor Zyvex and 2 other Assembly representatives. A crystalline being and one of the tentacled counselors Maya recognized from her initial reception. "This meeting is unprecedented," Zyvex began, his once imperious tone now subdued. "In 12,000 years, no species has achieved what yours has." President Vasquez's expression remained neutral. "We prefer it would never have been necessary, Chancellor. Peaceful contact was our genuine hope. And yet you prepared for war," the crystalline being observed, its internal light pulsing. "We prepared for exactly what happened," Admiral Rice countered. "Your assessment, your judgment, your invasion." Maya leaned forward. "The integration protocol has claimed how many civilizations, Chancellor? How many species have you deemed worthy of resource optimization?" Zivex's compound eyes shifted uncomfortably. "The protocol has served galactic stability for millennia." "It served Assembly dominance," Maya corrected. "There's a difference." The tentacled counselor undulated in what might have been agitation. "What do humans want?" "Revenge. The destruction of the Assembly." President Vasquez shook her head. "Neither. Despite your actions, we still desire peaceful coexistence, but on equal terms, not as subjects." "Impossible," the crystalline being flashed brightly. "The Assembly structure cannot accommodate equals, only members under our guidance." "Then the structure must change," Admiral Rice said simply, "or it will break." To emphasize his point, a holographic display activated, showing real-time footage of Ghost Fleet vessels systematically dismantling Assembly monitoring outposts throughout the Sol system. Outposts the Assembly had believed were undetected. "You've violated our sovereignty for decades," President Vasquez continued. "Studied us without consent, planned our subjugation, executed an unprovoked invasion. By any reasonable standard, we would be justified in responding with full military force." Zyvex's four hands performed a gesture Maya now recognized as anxiety. "The full Assembly military is far larger than what you've defeated here." "Is it?" Maya asked quietly. On the display, new footage appeared. Ghost fleet vessels had emerged in 6 other star systems, neutralizing Assembly military installations before they could respond. "Quantum displacement technology," Admiral Rice explained. "Our ships can appear anywhere we've mapped instantly, and we've been mapping Assembly space for 30 years. The tentacled counselor's appendages writhed. "This is impossible. Your species couldn't have developed such technology independently. Humanity has a talent for innovation when threatened," President Vasquez replied. "Especially when we know we're being watched." The implications hung in the air. The Assembly representatives finally understood the magnitude of their miscalculation. What they had perceived as a primitive species ripe for harvesting had been silently studying them, preparing counters to every Assembly advantage, developing technologies beyond even Assembly understanding. "What are your demands?" Zyvex finally asked. President Vasquez activated a datapad. "The complete dismantling of the integration protocol, recognition of Earth and all human colonies as sovereign territory, non-aggression pacts with all Assembly species, full disclosure of all species currently under Assembly control or optimization, and a seat on the Council," Admiral Rice added, "equal to the founding members." The Assembly representatives conferred among themselves in their native languages, clearly agitated. Finally, Zyvex turned back to face the humans. "The Assembly has stood unchanged for 12,000 years. What you ask would transform the very foundation of galactic governance." "Yes," Maya said simply. "And if we refuse?" The crystalline being challenged. Admiral Rice gestured to the display, now showing Earth's ghost fleet positioned near critical Assembly worlds. "Then governance ends. Your choice." Another tense silence filled the room. "We will convey your terms to the full Council," Zyvex finally conceded. "But know that even with our recommendation, such changes will face resistance." President Vasquez nodded. "We understand. That's why Admiral Rice will accompany you back to Assembly space with a diplomatic contingent, to help clarify the situation." The meaning was clear. This wasn't a negotiation. It was the announcement of a new reality. As the meeting concluded, Maya escorted the Assembly representatives back to their shuttle. Zyvex lingered behind the others. "Captain Chen," he said quietly, "I admit curiosity. How did your species detect us so early? Our observation protocols should have been undetectable to pre-FTL civilizations." Maya smiled. "As it happens, Chancellor, you weren't the first visitors to our system." Before Zyvex could respond, Maya continued, "You assumed we were alone, isolated. But 70 years ago, a damaged ship from a species fleeing Assembly optimization crashed on Earth. They warned us about you. Everything since, our technological development, our apparent vulnerabilities, even our first contact protocols, was designed with you in mind." Zyvex's compound eyes widened. "Which species?" "That remains our secret," Maya replied. "But know this. Your integration protocol created your own downfall by leaving survivors desperate enough to seek allies." She turned to leave, then paused. "One more thing, Chancellor. Where are my missing crew members?" Zyvex's posture changed subtly. "They were transferred to a research facility. I cannot guarantee their condition. Then finding them will be our first priority after the new accords are established." Maya's voice was ice. "For your sake, I hope they're alive." 2 months later, Maya Chen stood on the bridge of the HFY Vanguard, the newest and most advanced vessel in Earth's now public fleet. As its captain, she was preparing for a mission that would have been unimaginable just months before. Final preparations complete, Captain, reported her first officer, Commander Sarah Okafor, recently promoted after their shared ordeal. Thank you, Commander, Maya acknowledged. Status of our passengers. The Vesperi delegation is settled in their quarters. Trixma sends their regards. Maya smiled. The insectoid beings who had helped them escape had become Earth's first true allies in the restructured galactic community. Other species, long suppressed under Assembly rule, had quickly aligned themselves with humanity once the balance of power shifted. The view screen showed the magnificent sight of the transformed Nexus Station, once the Assembly's seat of power, now the headquarters of the new Galactic Cooperative. Its structure had been redesigned, the hierarchical tiers replaced with equal segments representing each member species. Captain, Communications Officer Patel called, incoming transmission from Earth Command. On screen. Admiral Rice appeared. Captain Chen, your rescue mission is authorized. The former Assembly leadership has provided coordinates for all research facilities where Earth personnel may be held. Understood, Admiral. We'll bring them home. There's more, Rice continued. Intelligence suggests the Assembly had similar facilities for other species they deemed interesting. President Vasquez has authorized you to investigate these as well. Every sapient being deserving of dignity should be recovered. Maya nodded solemnly. We won't let them down. As the transmission ended, Maya gazed at the starfield beyond the view screen. The universe had suddenly become both larger and smaller, larger in its possibilities, smaller in its connectedness. Plot course for the first facility, she ordered. Maximum speed. As the Vanguard's quantum displacement drive engaged, Maya reflected on how quickly everything had changed. Humanity had entered the galactic stage, not as conquerors or subjects, but as liberators. The Assembly had crossed a line when they targeted Earth, never suspecting they were awakening not just a planet, but an ideal, that freedom wasn't just for humans, but for all sentient life. Course laid in, Captain, reported the navigator. Ready on your command. Maya Chen, once a diplomatic captain and now the spearhead of humanity's new role in the galaxy, gave the order that would begin the next chapter in their shared history. Engage.